Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, or good evening. My name is Daniel Essex. This is Podcast for Liberty. And as usual, Podcast for Liberty is sponsored by the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. Our website is http://www.societylb.8m.net. With the Society for Liberty and Prosperity are devoted to the teaching of civics and advocating for one's ability to exercise their civil rights. We are also engaged in defending our beloved Union. It's getting to be a full time job, and our coffers are empty. It's imperative that the society begin raising funds to pay for our ongoing operations. And I would appreciate when you go to the website, consider tapping on the donate now buttons that you'll find and give generously to the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. The work is immense. It is becoming a full time job. And quite frankly, I need to get my bills paid, and the society needs to have its bills paid. So give generously. And while you're at it, consider joining the Society for Liberty and Prosperity. Whether you donate or not, there's much work to be done. And the more of us that unite for the cause of liberty and freedom, the more of us that come together in unity, the easier the work will be and the more targeted we can become. Ladies and gentlemen, I know I need to make some commercials, but the good news is we've started our civics classes. They're being held at First Baptist Church here in Barberville. It's on the corner of High and Main. How you get into it is you go into the parking lot and there's a door in the corner. You go in that door and there are signs to take you into what's called the courtyard. That's where we're having our civics classes. And no, it's not outside. It's got a roof on it. It's air conditioned. It's quite comfortable. And how we're doing the civics classes is we're showing a video and doing a town hall discussion afterwards. And so far, it seems to be going pretty good. We need more people to join us. So if you live in, around, near Barville, or find yourself traveling to Barville, consider, and it's Friday night, 7 o'clock, consider attending our civics classes. If you live in and around Barville, I'd like to see you on a regular basis. Our civics classes are open to whomever will. You don't need to be a member to attend our civics classes, although you'll be encouraged to join. You don't have to be a member. Okay, now on to the news. Joe Biden's Afghan debacle. I just reviewed all my news, checked my facts, and I made myself a little checklist here. So we'll see how I can keep up with it. Joe Biden touted his own success with the withdrawal of the troops from Afghanistan. Yes, success is not even begin to touch it. Yeah, he is totally insane if he thinks that's what success looks like. If that's what success looks like, I'd like to know what he believes failure looks like. Because failure is definitely what it looked like. We left American citizens behind. We left supporters to America behind. It used to be that if you assisted the United States in a time of war, that was one way that you can gain citizenship. You serve the military for a time, and then you come home and then serve the people for a time, and then you get your citizenship. And it's the fastest way to gain your citizenship in the United States. As well, it should be because you're already proving your loyalty by working with us. These are the people that needed to be brought out. Now, from the time the news first broke until now, the State Department has and continues to get in the way of the evacuation of American citizens. And they're concentrating on the evacuation of American troops. Joe Biden is lying to us when he says he sent 6,000 troops to defend the airport. Well, there's two problems with that. Number one, 6,000 troops is woefully inadequate compared to the forces that were against us. I know we killed 10 to 1. For everyone we lose, we kill at least 10 of the enemy. I'm well aware of that. All we need to do is we need to send a mighty force that assures us a victory, which would be more of a 3 to 1. Or even money, If we have 100,000 against us, we send over 100,000. Hey, who's going to win? But albeit like that, a suicide bomber did get into the airport, killed 19 of our servicemen, and I don't know how many Afghans. And all those Afghans were supporters of the United States during the war. They're trying to come home to America. They're all looking forward to becoming full citizens. They didn't hurt anybody. They didn't do anything except support us. And they were being targeted by the Taliban for death. That's what the Taliban does. With the men, they torture them, and the women, they rape. And then when they're done playing with them, they kill them. And to be working with the United States of America is enough for them to pass a death sentence. I'm surprised we haven't lost more people. As soon as Joe Biden seen that the Taliban was on the move, which was a month or 2 months before the crisis. Joe Biden should have acted then. Should have dispatched now. Then the 6,000 troops may have been more useful to beat back the Taliban back to the border of Pakistan. But if you ask me, I'm not satisfied with just beating them back to the border of Pakistan. We need to chase them into Pakistan, just utterly destroy them, just like we did with the Al Qaeda, just like we did with ISIS. ISIS is reconstituted. Al Qaeda is coming back together and reforming. They're all birds of a feather. I've heard it described that they're different feathers of the same bird. They come together to fight us. And now that they think they have us defeated, they're going to start on each other, war against each other until they get tired of that. And then they're going to come back together again and come after us again. Perhaps this time in the homeland. More jets, New York City and Chicago. Maybe the Sears Tower will be targeted. Maybe the Washington Monument. Hey, they attacked the Pentagon. Maybe the White House. Hmm. I hate to see that any kind of destruction or any kind of war touch the homeland. I hate to see it overseas too, but sometimes war has to be fought when they don't understand anything but brute force. We need to exert as much of it as they need to see for them to capitulate to us. Freedom comes at a cost, and we need to defend freedom. Defending freedom means going after the warmongers and defeating them, and if necessary, taking them off the face of the earth. And I'm wondering if Joe Biden is one of those warmongers. I don't know. He definitely ran away from this fight, the fight in Afghanistan. Maybe he'd rather fight him on the homeland. It's possible that he may have already brought terrorists into this country, but the good news, private charities have stepped up to get our American citizens and faithful Afghans home to America. They succeeded in getting them out of Afghanistan. I don't know where they flew them to, but many of them, the final destination is America. And there's a lot of red tape that they got to go through. But the thing is they're in an area where they're safe. They're in a host country where they're secure. They don't have the fear of death right now. And that's the way it should be. During the emergency, they brought out many, many people. And then when the military, Joe Biden brought out the last of the troops, there was a time of interruption, but then they got back to work and brought out many more. And from what I understand, they're still bringing them out. Even though the State Department is sitting there saying, you can't do that. State Department is sitting there saying, we can't guarantee anybody's safety. The State Department is sitting there saying, you should be afraid to move. What are they doing with the COVID now? Oh, you should be afraid. You got to wear your mask so you don't transmit it, even though you're fully vaccinated. What the hell kind of BS is that? What is going on with the COVID virus now? I dare say it is fully politicized, and it's becoming more politicized even here in Kentucky. Now, the way the stats are coming in, I'm not passing judgment as to whether or not we're actually having a surge or not. The numbers surely suggest we are, but how voracious are those numbers? How valid are those numbers? How can we confirm that the numbers are accurate and authentic? And how are they counting those numbers? Are they counting the numbers based on positive results? Or are they counting the numbers based on who has what at the time? Are they counting someone who has a heart attack and just happens to have COVID as a COVID death? Or is it COVID deaths being counted properly? And these are great unknowns, and many of these questions cannot be answered. And even if they could be answered, it takes honest people to answer. And it takes honest and brave people to blow the whistle on things that aren't right. Even though we have whistleblower laws that prevent retribution, bring the ability to bring criminal charges against those who perform retribution on whistleblowers, people are still afraid to blow the whistle on things. And I believe it should be rightfully so because no one wants to bear false witness. You want to be right in what you're doing and believe that you have the information necessary to make those decisions. And I commend that effort. Even with my podcast, I check and recheck my figures and facts. I have my trusted sources, which generally are the sources themselves. For Congress, I rely on congressional press releases. For the state, there's a number of articles and news feeds that I subscribe to that have proven them pretty accurate. I've lost confidence in the major media, and I don't trust the news that they're putting out. I've seen too much yellow journalism. I don't want a pack of lies. I don't want to be looking at a pack of lies. I want the truth. And some of my sources I have on my website as recommended reading. Others I hold close to the vest because I don't want the enemy knowing where I get some of my facts from. But I do want those facts to be accurate, truthful. and I believe they are. Joe Biden says he's got 90% of the people out of Afghanistan that need to come out. And first of all, I believe that is a lie. I don't think he has anywhere near 90% out. From what I'm reading and the figures that I'm seeing and the figures that I'm confirming, which some of these figures are difficult to confirm. Some of them are exaggerated, while others are underreported. But the thing is according to the knowledge that I've gleaned and the information that I've received, I believe we have probably about 40% of the people out of Afghanistan that need to come out. But even if it was 90%, that's still not sufficient. We need to get them all out. Because all the ones we leave behind there, we leave a death warrant with them. Because the Taliban will surely pick them up, torture them. The Taliban is evil. Al Qaeda is evil. ISIS is evil. And the thing is Joe Biden just made the way for them all to get stronger. And when they get strong, when they feel like they get strong enough, they're going to come after us. Right now, we've given them $85 billion worth of equipment that were left at Bagram Air Base. That's what was left at Bagram Air Base. And our law boys in uniform done their job sabotaging or trying to sabotage every piece of equipment. But if it was me, I would have blown them all up. Just take some C4 and put it on everything and blow everything up, blow the base up, leave nothing for the enemy. But they were working on orders from President Biden. And President Biden wanted to give a gift to the Taliban. That's my accusation. He wanted to give a gift to the Taliban of this equipment. And then the Taliban, when they got in there, they seize the equipment, and then they check it out, and then they get upset because it doesn't work. Oh, when I read that article, I was tickled pink. But then I also seen in other articles that they weren't allowed, the soldiers were not allowed to wreak any substantial damage to the equipment. So I knew they was going to be able to fix them. But in a matter of a day or two, they had them fixed, and they're flying a Black Hawk helicopter with somebody hanging from their neck below it. And you can plainly see on the YouTube, which is probably removed by now for a number of reasons. But I did happen to see it. You can see the figure, shadowy figure, turning in the wind. You can see his hands tied behind his back and the rope coming from his neck. And the article said that this video has been misinterpreted. That the guy below the helicopter is actually going for a ride. And the thing is, I call that a bunch of hooey. I took a look at the video, and it sure looked like that rope was around the neck. I believe it was. Now the thing is that video was on YouTube, and like I said, I'm sure it's probably scrubbed, but I seen it. And once you see something, you can't unsee it. Tells me where the truth is. Now, when the Taliban began movement, that's when Joe Biden should have took action. 6,000 troops would have done that. Would have been able to take care of that. Push them back, defeat them. What we should do is destroy them. President Biden signed Americans' death warrants by failing to bring the people home. The Taliban, Al Qaeda, and ISIS must all be destroyed. The war on terror is not over. It will probably never be over. Joe Biden's talking about a forever war. We're probably in a forever war. There's always going to be evil in the world. But let's defeat this particular evil. Let's utterly destroy them, kill their leaders, make them all capitulate. Let's drive them into the ground and destroy their bases. Let's make it even the thought of them regenerating brings fear into them. Fear of the United States, what the United States will do. The world leaders are laughing at Joe Biden's ineptitude. Everybody's sitting there saying how stupid Joe Biden is to be making all these mistakes. Are they really mistakes? Or are these intentional actions? I'm believing more and more that these are intentional actions. Because nobody can be that stupid. The airlift was done by private charities, and they've made much progress. And there's more progress to be made. There's some that are still going through there. My favorite charity with that is Operation Pineapple. And that is by Operation Nazarene. They're doing a yeoman's work as far as getting people out. And I believe they're still at work trying to get people out. And there's several other charities doing the same work. I've been trying to get some numbers, but the thing is every time I get numbers, they're always different. So I have to imagine that maybe I can't get the true numbers because everybody says something different. And our society email, I did put some numbers in there that I thought were, and I believe they were accurate. But I've seen more numbers now that kind of cast doubt on that accuracy. But I believed it was accurate at the time, so we'll just Have to let it stand. I can't take it back. Once I send it, I send it. If I made a mistake, so be it. The House Freedom Caucus has met regarding this, and they're calling for Secretary Blinken to be impeached. They're also demanding Biden's resignation and calling for Nancy Pelosi to be terminated. Bravo! The House Freedom Caucus. We give them kudos for their work. I support these actions. And I think I would like to take it a step further. Joe Biden needs to be impeached. And Nancy Pelosi needs to lose her job. I don't care how we do it. We got to take this country back. The leaders that we got are not going to do it for us. They're set out on destroying union. And we no longer live in the United States as we have known it in the past. No longer is there liberty and justice for all. It is by the government, for the government, with the government. And the tipping point is big business. Increasingly, small business is being squeezed out. All this money that was supposed to go for supporting the small business went to the big business. And there's no money left for the small guys. And the Federal Reserve has been buying up federal debt by printing money and putting it into circulation. I don't understand exactly how that works. But apparently, the Federal Reserve is a separate entity from the government of the United States. I thought they were together. But apparently, according to what's being explained, they're separate entities. And if the Federal Reserve goes belly up, the United States won't have to pay back the trillions of dollars currently on the books owned by the Federal Reserve. The thing is, we need to have national debt paid one way or another. We don't need to be adding to it. And anything that Joe Biden wants to spend money on should be filibustered by Mitch McConnell, which I don't think he will because establishment Republicans like him are in cahoots with the Democrats because they enjoy their power. Now, to Mr. McConnell, I'm going to remind him that it is written that he who loves his life must be prepared to lose it to gain it back. He loves his power, but he's not willing to risk losing it. So he's going to do like the evil one does to keep his power instead of risking it and trusting us, the people, whom he represents or claims to represent. Yes, McConnell, your power is secure, but your corruption is running deeper and deeper. And this standing with the people on one issue and standing with the Democrats on the other issue. And I shouldn't even say Democrats, I should say enemies to the union, because that's who these people are, truly. I'm sure there's still some good Democrats out there that love liberty, and the Republican Party is definitely willing to take them into their fold. All I have to do is believe in the limited government, and that's the key. We need to limit the government. It is time to take the government and start paring it down. Take it back down to where it was originally. And forget about back in the courts. Any expansion of the Supreme Court should not be done. We have 9 justices already. That's enough divergence of opinion. Just because the Democrats don't like the makeup of the court doesn't mean that justice is not being dispensed. Their activism is not being done, and that's what they're not happy about. So far, the judgments of this new Supreme Court, I don't have a problem with their judgments. I do have a problem with their inaction. There are a lot of cases that they should have acted upon and didn't. And there's still cases that I believe they should be acting on, and they're not. Even if all it is to acknowledge the facts. I don't necessarily need to pass a judgment each time. Just simply acknowledge the facts. This is what's going to be done. We find that these are the facts. And then, you know, we have election fraud. Okay. We find that we find that there's a possibility that election fraud is occurred. So let's send it back to the state and demand that the state act on this. What's wrong with that? I commend the Supreme Court on their latest action with the Texas abortion law. They pretty much sent it back to the state and said, hey, the state's got every right to do it. And we need more judgments like that. The 10th Amendment guarantees states' rights. Anything that's not found in the Constitution that is either approved of the Constitution or denied by the Constitution are the only things that are the job of the federal government. Everything else has to go to the states or the people. And the thing is that's the way it should be. Joe Biden wants to ignore the Constitution and pass all these laws against the Constitution. ESG, for example. Oh, you're going to ask me what ESG is. Well, I will explain it to you in a minute. It is about sustainability, economic, uh, economics and security, and sustainability. But it's actually what it does is you're a good boy for our government type of thing. You're one of the followers of the government. You're one of our sheep. You need to be taken care of. You just do what we tell you to do and shut up about everything else. Forget about your liberty and freedom, and we'll reward you. You'll be able to get loans, build bank accounts, hold down a job. You'll be able to support yourself. And if you can't support yourself, well, we'll help support you anyway. And they're putting it right along with the FICO score or the credit score. And working it right into that. In many places, it's already a reality. Many places around the world, it's already a reality. It's online. You can view it. Just go to yahoo.com and they got all kinds of ESG. Okay, ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. General term used in capital markets and used by investors to evaluate corporate behavior and determine future financial performance of companies. But it's not, So what's social got to do with the performance of companies? Hmm, you're a good boy for the government. Well, we allow you to do that. Sound familiar? How about Facebook, YouTube, and Google sitting there saying, we're only going to allow certain speech. Speech about freedom and liberty is banned, shadow banned. We're not allowed. The thing is, my audience, I've got a new analytics program, and I check it about once a month. And my audience should be 10 times the size of what it is now. I know Facebook isn't putting it out much. Oh, they're putting it out there, but just, you know, they're trying to keep me happy. If you're viewing me, as you're viewing me, I would appreciate a share or two. Share it with people, share it with your circles. We get enough circles out there, and I get a couple of thousand followers. Yeah, I'll be happy with that, but that's where I should be. Right now, I'm still in the hundreds. My word's getting out, but it's not getting out as strong as it should be. But my words are getting out, and that is encouraging to me. And seeing as all that's out there for podcasts, people have very wide range of choices. And I'm a believer in choice. I believe that you have the right to choose who you spend your time with and how you spend your time with them. I really appreciate my audience and the people that stick with me week after week. I don't ask for a lot of your time. I just ask for an hour a week, and I appreciate my audience that gives me that hour a week, and I try to do the best I can for bring forth official information that's truthful and pertinent and relevant. Uh, Joe Biden gave away $85 billion worth of equipment to the Taliban. And I can't believe that Joe Biden is inept. I believe he's lying. I believe he's scheming. And I believe he is intentional on what he's doing. He intended to give that equipment to the Taliban. He intended to give the Bagram Air Base to the Taliban. He intended to give the country of Afghanistan to the Taliban. And he set forth on a path to make it happen. Furthermore, I accuse Joe Biden of being in cahoots with China and Russia. China, for a long time, been seeking to kill Americans. Back in the 80s, dog food and cat food, they killed our pets. In the 90s, that same protein found their way into the human food. And there were many, many, many recalls. I haven't heard much about all that lately, but I have no doubt it's still going on. It's probably being censored. How much censorship is really going on? What is in the news that we're not being told, that we're not being allowed to see? There is some of the news that we are being allowed to see, but the thing is Facebook, YouTube, and Google need to put forth both sides of the story. The more speech is better because there you can get a kernel of truth. Get a kernel here, get a kernel there, get a kernel somewhere else. And the thing is, people decide for themselves what the truth is. And then we come together in the spirit of truth and light, shed light on these problems. And we allow ourselves the luxury of living in that truth. President Biden is making the world a more dangerous place. He is dividing us according to race, religion, and ethnicity. He wishes to kill even the most vulnerable of us, the ones in the womb. They truly have no voice, but the Supreme Court spoke for them this week, and I'm very happy for it. Ladies and gentlemen, last week was a bad week because of President Biden. This week has been a better week, thanks to the Supreme Court. And also thanks to Congress. Thank you to the Congressional Freedom Caucus. I got that right. House Freedom Caucus. Thank you to the House Freedom Caucus for stepping up for American citizens and calling for the resignation or impeachment of Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, Blinken, and top officials. I hope y'all can make it happen. I truly do. We, the people, desire that to happen. I do believe. And anyone that wishes to send me an email can do so at daniel@societylp.adm.net. Send me an email, tell me what you think about the podcast. Give me some ideas for what we can do in future shows. I can use your ideas. And I covet your prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, I see what time it's getting. Our time's growing short. So I'm going to go ahead and end it all now. Take care of each other. The ones you love, make sure you tell them and give them a hug. The ones you really love, give them a kiss. The closer you are, the better you are. Take care of each other. Till next week. This is Daniel Lessig and this podcast for Liberty. Thank you.